Confused about what career to choose? Not quite sure if the range of study and work options compatible with your personality, aptitude and interests? Welcome to Career Cafe. Together, we shall explore the pros and cons, the ins and outs, the programs and prospects, all the stuff you need to make an informed and successful study and career choice. Hi, I'm your host and career guide Parveen Malhotra, and on today's episode, instead of discussing a specific career option like we usually do, we'll take up a popular higher study destination, the United States to be precise. The American higher education system is regarded by many to be the best in the world. They consistently attract some of the best and brightest brains in the world across academic areas and disciplines. For Indian students, getting into a good American university is a dream goal. In fact, the USA accounts for the largest number of Indian students who go abroad for higher studies. On today's show, we will closely look at what it takes to apply and get selected to an American university. And to simplify the entire procedure and shatter a few myths along the way, we have with us Ishrat Jahan from Education USA. Ishrat is the advising coordinator for the India and Central Asia region for Education USA. Supported by the US Department of State, Education USA's mandate is to provide information and assistance in applying to American universities through a network of centers across the world. Previously, Ishrat has served as the Education USA Outreach Coordinator at the US Embassy in Dhaka, Bangladesh. Welcome to Career Cafe, Ishrat.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Happy to be here.
So let's plunge into the subject
Sure.
right off, no pleasantries. Tell me, I mean, with so many universities in the US, 4,000 plus and lakhs of courses, how does a student, it's mind-boggling, how does a student go about deciding what and where to study?
Well, that's a very big challenge for young people, especially since there's such a wide options available. What we ask for students is to really look at their personal profiles.
Okay.
What are the available resources they currently have? What are the finances? What is their interest? What would they like to pursue? Especially in the undergraduate fields, US universities don't expect you students
to be so focused.
Too focused, yeah. They want you to explore. They want you to have a well-rounded education.
Right.
So if you have an interest, pursue that, and you might feel that in the first 2 years you're exploring many different subjects. Maybe in a couple of years you'll know exactly what subject you want to focus in. But for graduate students, I think most graduate students already know what they would like to study, but if they'd like to change majors, that's also an option that they have at US University.
Yes, which is so fantastic.
Exactly.
Yes.
They can go into any field they'd like to. Even in the US, medical fields often see non-medical students applying for medical schools. So the options are, yes, it's a lot of options, but it's up to the student to figure out what is their interest level, what are they passionate about. If you study what you're passionate about,
yes,
you'll likely be more successful.
Very true, very true. So if you have any queries, call us quickly on these numbers, 1-800-115314 and 011-2303-5420. Yes, so Ishrat, now tell me, how much in advance does a student need to start applying?
Well, US university application process can be a quite lengthy process, only because we need students to be prepared. We say 12 to 18 months in advance is when you start.
This holds true of undergrad and postgrad?
Both of them. You need to be at least starting 12 to 18 months. You need to have enough time in your hands to do the research, to find an institution, a list of institutions that fit your need, to communicate with those universities, to take all your tests, to collect all your documents, to make sure you have your transcripts, your letters of recommendations, you get your time to write your personal essays. So having those 12 to 18 months really gives you enough time to create a strong application package.
And but is this something students can do on their own, or is hand-holding required?
See, the way we look at it is US students in the US and US high schools really do this primarily on their own. Of course, young people...
They're plugged into the system.
They're plugged into it, and they always will. Just like Indian students have guidances, they have their teachers, they have their parents. And just like in India, you will have teachers and parents and friends and family to help you along. But it's important for the student to know what is happening, to know what is going into their application package, to be preparing it themselves. Because when you do it yourself, you're more invested in it. You know exactly what you're going into when you go to the university campus. There's no surprises because you've done the research. You know that when you arrive on campus, what your class is going to look like. You'll know which classes to register for, when to register for them. So it's really important for students to learn how to do it. And that's what Education USA does. The advisors help students to learn how to do the research, how to figure out which universities would fit their interest, and narrow down their options, find out which universities are likely to give them scholarships, or likely to give them the degree and the education that they're looking for their future.
So is this done one-on-one or is it done in groups? How does it operate?
In both formats, actually. We do it in many, many different ways. Advisors work primarily in large groups. We provide group sessions, and those are absolutely free. Anyone is welcome to come to any group sessions that are being conducted. We visit schools, so we even invite parents and schools to call us and say, please come to our schools to provide information. We do it completely free. So advisors go out and do it. We have webinars. We always put on webinars on various different topics. The students from anywhere in India can log on and talk to advisors directly. And of course, we also have the centers where the advisors do meet students one-on-one for a small membership fee, which is nothing compared to what's out there. Yeah, to the cost that's out there. But we want to make sure that the serious students who've gone through the large process, have gone through all the group advising, has gone through all the resources, and they're ready to shortlist. They're looking at, I have my application package almost ready. I just need an advisor to tell me if I'm going in the right direction. That's when our advisors come in.
Yes, and this in India, for most Indian students, their statement of purpose is a bogey.
Yeah.
So I think a little bit of help and a little nudge.
Absolutely, our advisors are there to provide sessions. We have universities from the U.S., the representatives, when they come to visit India, they actually provide sessions at our centers to teach students what are they looking for in a statement of purpose. They even give workshops on how to write good statement of purpose. So those are really good things to utilize at our centers.
Absolutely, and I think this is towards the end of the show, we'll tell them where they need to log on to get all this information. Yes, absolutely. And something, Ishrat, our first caller is waiting on the line
wonderful.
for you. Yes. From Punjab. Welcome to Career Cafe.
Hi, Praveen.
Hi.
I am actually a dentist, but I switched to advertising, so I work as a copywriter with Lowe. And right now I was looking to pursue a degree in, let's say, philosophy or archaeology. But the thing is, my shift firstly from being a dental graduate, then to advertising, and then so the universities are not really, they are not really keen to take me in because I'm shifting. I had my degree in some other field, then I was practicing as a copywriter. And also the degree I'm going to pursue, maybe philosophy or archaeology, let's say, is in the field of arts.
Okay.
It doesn't really give me won't land me into a job as in. It's something which interests me.
Okay.
So I want to know how to go about it, because financially, and then how do I propose this to the universities, how to go about it.
All right. Ishrat?
There are lots of students in the States, and U.S. universities take in lots of students that do mid-career changes.
Absolutely.
And that's a completely open field.
And if there's one country that permits that, it's
the U.S. U.S. universities are very welcoming. Many have multiple degrees. I think it's important to do the research to find exactly what you're looking for. There's many universities that offer communication, media and communication studies, masters in those fields. And if you don't have the required subjects, to communicate with the school directly and tell them your interest level, so they can guide you and say maybe one semester you can take those required courses before you enter into a master's program. But they're prerequisites. You might have to take the GRE, you might have to take a TOEFL or an IELTS to show that your proficiency is acceptable to the university. But again, come to a center, talk to an advisor, listen in on our sessions. There are university representatives that come to India quite often. There are lots of fairs, even there's one going on right now, and our advisors are located at all those fairs. So come to those fairs, talk to those
But
representatives
I also
directly.
feel, you know, that for a course like philosophy, I think that would be very open. Maybe archaeology may require some background courses.
Those are usually very open. Again, you might just need to do a TOEFL proficiency test and maybe write an essay to explain exactly why you're pursuing that field, what's your motivation to change your fields. Again, talk to the universities, you know, write to them or take an assistance.
Because they want diversity on campus.
Absolutely.
Yes.
They need those diversities
yes,
and
I
your
think
thought processes.
You'll bring that to campus. Also, I mean, if, you know, you could also try just for tasting, you could try some of these online courses and stuff that's available on Coursera, etc., to just give you a flavor of what American education is like, and then, you know, go into it full steam.
Yeah, there's many universities that are offering a wide range of online courses that are completely free. That's a good way to get a foot in the door. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah.
Right. So I hope you've got your answer and best of luck. Okay. And the other thing I wanted to know, do American universities have a separate quota? I mean, in India we talk of quotas, no? So do they have a separate quota for foreign, I mean, Asian or Indian students? No. Is there something they keep aside that...
Actually, the way the U.S. works is you're never discriminated against. So it's based on your application package, you know, what you're applying for, the subject you're applying for, and if you feel like the university feels like you'll be a good fit within their population, you're a good fit for that subject, you're a good fit for the university, there's a room for you. So it's really about finding the best fit at a university. There's no such thing as a quota or a limit on how many international seats there are. There might be, in the case of financial aid, there might be limited financial aid at some institutions, but largely most universities give an average of $50,000. Most of the Ivy Leagues give an average of $50,000 to U.S. For international students. Some public universities might be giving out less, but there's always room there.
This is at the undergraduate level or the postgrad level?
Both. Actually, it's a combination of both. There might be more available at private institutions as far as funding is concerned and less at public institutions, but there's certainly room, but there's no quota as such in the U.S. Absolutely not. So you're welcome. There are over 4,000 institutions. And there's a large number of Indian students, over 90,000 Indian students currently studying in the U.S., over 800,000 international students in the U.S. all over the world. So certainly U.S. university campuses invite students all the time.
Absolutely, and there's another caller waiting on the lines from Chennai. Suresh, welcome to Career Cafe. Hello.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, good evening.
Calling from Chennai, I'm Suresh.
Yes.
I'm doing my MBA from Anna University affiliated Chennai. I did my UG from distance education actually. I want to pursue an higher degree, something related to PhD in US. So, or else some other degree course, certificate courses from US. Will the US universities will allow students that have been pursued UG from distance education?
Well, if it's an accredited institution within India, globally accepted, absolutely they will accept. Again, universities are institutions within themselves, so many have their own criteria of what they accept, what they don't. So it's really up to the students to find out and communicate with those schools to find out if they will accept it. But by and by, if you're an accredited graduate institution, they will accept it.
And he's done his undergrad through distance mode, but subsequently he's done his MBA from a regular university.
And so they will only look for the most recent.
They'd look for the most recent qualification.
Exactly, and that shouldn't be an issue at all.
Absolutely.
And if you're in Chennai, our advising center is in Chennai as well.
You have an advising center
in Chennai? Yes, Education US Advising Center in Chennai. It's with the American Consulate there. So please do visit by the center.
Great, great. So we'll take a short break here. But when we return, we'll continue our discussion on studying in the USA, so stay right there. Welcome back to Career Cafe. We're looking at higher studies in America, and with us is Ishrat Jahan of Education USA. Ishrat, I have 100 questions to ask you, but before that, you know, there's a stream of people waiting on the line, so I think we'll put them on. The first is Ritu from Maharashtra. Welcome, Ritu.
हेलो,
हाय।
मुझे पूछना था कि जो IB डिप्लोमा होता है आफ्टर 10th वो यूजफुल होता है क्या, मतलब ओवर +2 A लेवल प्रोग्राम जो होते हैं उसके ऊपर?
Well, the thing is, for U.S. undergraduate acceptances, you need a minimum of 12 years of education, whether it's your IB diploma or you're finishing off your A-levels. As long as you can show that you have your 12 years of completed education in your home country, you can use that to apply to U.S. universities, absolutely.
But does an IB give you an edge at all?
I wouldn't say it gives you an edge. Maybe you are better at writing your statements or something like that, but I think all students are seen at an equal platform. You still have to, everyone still has to take their SATs, everyone still has to take their TOEFL and IELTS. The strength of your application package is just as important. So it's really about who you are and how well you're presenting yourself. Your background can help you, your good academics, no matter which academic background you're coming for. Good academics, of course, makes for a better application package, but it's a whole combination of what you've done with your free time, your extracurricular activities, your engagement, your interest, your passions. Are you a musician? Are you an athlete? All of that is in a combination in addition to your academic background.
Yes, and that is so important. This is something that Indian students need to know, that it need not be, I mean, you need not be a rank holder at whatever you do, but even just participating in events and
showing you're engaged with the community.
Yes, your engagement, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Those all help in the application process. I'll give you a quick number, our toll-free number for Education USA, anywhere in India.
Yes, what is your toll-free number? Because, you know, after this you're going to get a lot of calls.
Sure, so, students, if you'd like to note it down, it's 1-800-103-1231. I'll repeat it again, 1-800-103-1231. This toll-free hotline is open 2 to 5 p.m. every Monday through Friday. So you can call during those times and also talk to an advisor for a brief few minutes and they'll give you some guidance, but you can get started with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we have another caller. So I think we'll have to do another program just for my questions. This time it's for our viewers' questions.
Happy to come back.
Sunil from Patna, welcome to Career Cafe. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. I'm Sunil from Patna.
Yes.
And I am a graduate in computer science engineering. And after completing my graduation in engineering, I want to do MBA from USA. What I have to do for a scholarship and any entrance examination, which will be a good and low fee.
Sure.
I want to know about.
Okay.
So again, the thing is to work towards a strong application package. If you're planning to apply for an MBA program, start creating your personal profile. What is your academic background? Start collecting your recommendation letters. Start studying for the GMAT. That's one test you're going to have to absolutely take in order to get admission at any MBA programs. You will also have to take your TOEFL or IELTS exam. So these are a few things you can start preparing now.
But Ishrat, the most important thing that he will need is work experience to get into a good
You need
school.
At least a 2 to 5 years of work experience
absolutely.
in order to apply for MBA program.
So I would say that you shouldn't be in a great hurry to, you know, just complete your studies and look at B schools, because none of the really good B schools would even look at you if you don't have work experience.
You absolutely need that work experience.
Yes, and luckily for him, he is an engineering student, so getting a job in his line will not be difficult.
Not at all.
Yes,
so work for a few years and then look to apply for an MBA program. Again, scholarship really depends on the strength of your application package, so take your time. There's no rush. Take that 12 to 18 months to prepare and at the same time gain your work experience.
And yet another caller, Anil Kumar Ishrat, so gear up. Yes, Anil. Hello.
हेलो
Hi,
Yes.
Anil.
मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ कि मैं यूएसए में MBA करना चाहता हूँ, तो
जी।
उसके लिए क्या करना पड़ता है?
अब अभी हमने यही सवाल को दोहराया था कि एमबीए करने के लिए आपको पहले तो जीमैट लेना पड़ेगा. हाँ, जीमैट जैसे बाकी इंजीनियरिंग वगैरह के लिए जीआरई लेते हैं, मैनेजमेंट के लिए जीमैट स्कोर्स चाहिए ज्यादातर, और वर्क एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए. ये 2 चीजें चाहिए. इसके अलावा जो एक आपका एप्लीकेशन प्रोसेस है, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ पर्पस वगैरह, वो सब चाहिए आपको, और महंगे हैं प्रोग्राम्स, लेकिन अगर आपको एक अच्छा बी स्कूल मिल जाता है तो आपकी जिंदगी बन जाती है.
It certainly is an investment into your
future. It is an investment, and a good MBA can cost you an arm and a leg. No?
It is quite costly. It's costly for American students, but the idea is...
So they work for years and then they to finance their education. Yes.
Absolutely, and that's how we should think about it. It really is an investment. So if you're investing into this, you'll be getting out of it and getting a good job. And the U.S. actually offers really good opportunities through their OPT and CPT programs.
What is OPT and CPT?
It's optional practical training or curriculum practical trainings. So when you're in your courses, you can go out for internships or jobs during your off seasons, meaning if you're not working full time, you can definitely access for STEM fields, the science, technology, engineering, and maths. You can get almost, I think, 18 additional months, 17 additional months, in addition to the 12 months.
So this is sandwiched between your courses?
You can be sandwiched or it can be after.
Okay.
So you get 12 months, everyone gets those 12 months, and after those 12 months are over, then your visa runs out. But within your visa time, you do get those 12 months of OPT and CPT to use.
Oh, that's fantastic. So this is at the undergraduate as well as master's level?
Any visa,
yes?
It's available at both. Yeah. So that's something students can consider. You can't work full-time while engaged in your courses. Let's say in summer breaks, winter breaks, or after you're finished with your degree, you'd like to stay on and do some practical training in your field. Your university has to approve it. Then you can access that opportunity as well to get that experience.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yet another caller, Ishrat. Ibrahim from Maharashtra, Nagpur. Hi, Ibrahim.
Hi, I'm Alina Ibrahim from Nagpur. I'm actually a citizen of America, and I've come down to India to do high school, and I'm looking to take a doctorate in veterinary medicine. So I was just wondering, what the requirements would be as a student from India, like if I could do my bachelor's from here and then do it there, or if it would be better if I did my bachelor's there, or if there's any possible way I could do my bachelor's here and then take a doctorate in veterinary medicine?
It really depends on exactly since you're going to veterinary medicine, I'm not exactly up to date on what the requirements are, but usually any medical program, you would need a 4-year bachelor in the U.S. before you progress into a medical program. But if you did do your bachelor's here, you would have to communicate with the veterinary schools in the U.S. to find out if they would accept those. You'd probably be more acceptable for PG, your postgrads or your residencies, rather than actually going for a course. So communicate. You can log on to our website, educationusa.state.gov, gov as in government, gov. So educationusa.state, state.gov. Find the closest advising center near you, and the advisor would be able to guide you more, hold your hand to help you out and find out what those possibilities are. But there's lots of information online. You can go to our website and access that information.
But I think the easier thing for her would be to do her bachelor's here and then go there, because even as far as medicine is concerned, you start your study of medicine after you've completed your undergraduate courses with some subjects
in the U.S. It's a little bit different. You have to finish your 4-year bachelor's in the U.S.
And your first medical degree is an MD.
Exactly. Only after your first, if you already have an MD degree here, then you can apply for residency programs.
Right.
But you would have to complete a 4-year bachelor's in the U.S. to get entrance into a medical program in the U.S. But again, programs are different nowadays. Lots of programs are coming up where they are accepting international students just by taking the MCATs. So it really is a large variety of options. I mean, 4,000 accredited institutions there, and lots of institutions are adjusting them to make sure they're accommodating international students. But advisors can definitely help you find the latest up-to-date information. Education USA gives you accurate, comprehensive, and current information, so we can give you the latest information if you come to an Education USA center.
Great. And on that note, we wrap up today's show here. Ishrat, thank you so much for coming to Career Cafe. Saw the kind of questions that we got. Wonderful. We'll get you again soon.
Sure.
So do send us your feedback at careercafe@lstv@gmail.com. Next week on Career Cafe, we'll look at another super career, this time a career, not a study option. But before that, let me leave you with an apt quote. The price of inaction is far greater than the cost of making a mistake. So bye for now, get going and be your best.